Hello and welcome to System Gold. This is Randall. I'm here with this image here that I'm going to be working with and manipulating it. I see all these lines here, and this indicates to me some kind of movement. So I'm going to take these and manipulate these lines into something that looks like movement of my character. So my character wouldn't be, I can't just plot my character down and make it work because he's going to be running towards the side. I'm not going to have him run straight on. It wouldn't work. For that character. So I'm going to have them run a little bit on an angle, and I'm going to use these as the lines. The first thing I'm going to show you is we're going to grab this tool, the rectangle mask tool, and we're just going to grab a little bit above these words and Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and Control R to get rid of the mask and just bring it down. In this case, you're able to control down and flatten it. All the images are flattened and those words are gone. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the freehand mask tool, and I'm going to actually we'll start at a pinpoint here, and we'll do a straight line like that. And I'm going to do Control C to copy, Control V to paste, Control R to get rid of the mask. You want to make sure you're always on the right layer when you're copying something and pasting it. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put the little hinge here. I'm using my center scroll to zoom in and out. And I'm going to grab this here on the side and turn it. And I guess the little nougat moved on me. So I apply, and then I'm going to get this to move a little bit. A little bit more here. Okay, we'll leave that for now, and once we put our character in, then we can manipulate it a little more. In the meantime, we're going to take our eyes off of that and go on to the background, and we're going to get rid of all these lines here. So to do that, we're going to copy some of the dark places. Control C, Control V, Control R, Effects, Blur, and we're going to use the Gaussian blur. And we don't want too much Gaussian blur, but let's try it, see what that looks like. Okay. So this is okay, but we don't want those straight lines. When you want something blurred, you want to go ahead and erase those lines. I can't see them that well. I thought I saw them a minute ago, but now I don't see it. Okay, so I guess it's fine. So we just kind of want to put these Control C, Control V, V, and kind of keep putting them down until everything's faded out. So when you start putting up here, then immediately you erase it. So the part that you don't want blurred out continues. And now we're working with too many layers here. So I'm fine with all the ones that are there. So I'm just going to add. To add more, you just hold down the Control and then you could click on the rest. The only one we're not doing is the one we have our eyes off of. So Control down, and then but now I just zoomed in with the center scroll. Control V to paste. Now I could work with the rest a little easier because I'm not grabbing the wrong layer and moving it from the place that I just put it. So we don't have to make it totally black. We just want to get the main part of it done, like out of the way. So it's not just black. I could have just taken this color by using this, taken this color, and then gone to this tool, and then just went like this. And then did effect blur, Gaussian blur, and that would have given us a similar idea. But I think this one is better because there's still subtle things going on here, and we didn't get rid of all those. And we don't want the attention to be drawn to this black, this dark black street. We want the attention to be here. Okay, so I'm going to erase this layer. You know why it's not deleting? Because I don't have this selected. So if you go over here and you select and then press delete, it should delete. If it doesn't, something weird happens, like it's trying to rename it. You click somewhere else on another layer, then you click back and you press delete. If it still doesn't work, then you might realize that you're on this tool or any of the other tools. The only one that you can do it with is this one. So you click here and you delete, and there you go. Okay, so now let me bring my character in. This is the position my character is in. Control V. You can see him running. Okay, so how I do this is I grab the lowest layer, the bottom layer, and I do effects blur, and there's something called Radial Blur. And it is as it sounds. It blurs in a circular motion, and I usually do 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the good thing about this program is whatever you did last, that's where it is the next time you use it, which if you keep using it in the same way, it's easier. You don't have to manipulate it at all. So now I'm going to the next one. I'm going to do the same thing. Blur, Radial Blur. It's up to 5, and okay. I hate how when these things pop up, they always pop on top of the image that I'm working on, instead of over here where I can see what it did to the image when I did it. But if you do want to see the difference back and forth, you can just, once you move it over, you press preview and then press preview again. Okay, so I like it. I press OK. Now I haven't fixed this, but I have to fix it each time because I haven't got a chance to fix it. But now I skip to the top layer and I go to adjust brightness and I go to dark. Again, I can't see what I'm doing here. So I like that darkness, but I don't like that there's pink underneath, because there's a head underneath that's pink, and it's a little bit bigger than the one underneath is the original size. This one, I don't know where I got it from, but it's too small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it just a little bit to make it bigger, not smaller. Let's see how that one works. Okay, so that should work. If not, I could always make it bigger again. So now I'm going to get the eraser tool for the layer that I just made darker, because when I erase it, the layer underneath comes through. And okay, I'm back. I just had to deal with my dog, so we're a little bit behind in what I was doing because I lost some of the stuff due to my dog. Okay, so I'm going to go back to effects blur and radial blur, and then we get it on 5. We go to the next layer and do the same thing. Radial blur. And then we go to the top layer, adjust brightness, and we put it dark to 5. And as you can see, it's a little smaller than the head behind it, so we just grab it, I hold down the shift key, and I just bring it up with just a hair. You don't want it too big because then it wouldn't look right, which I may have made it too big, so we'll find out in a second. Okay, so I usually just hit the center with it with a erase, and then I hit the eyes, and then I go back to the center a little bit. This makes it a little bit more three-dimensional. And there's actually, let me see, there's a little thing down here that bothers me, so let's zoom in on that and cut that off. Okay, it's gone. That looks good. There's a very subtle pink around the edge, but you can barely see it. And from where we're going to sit, we're not going to be able to see it. Okay, so I'm going to combine all these. Control Alt down. Put that on the top layer. So I think that I'll use it this way to give him more of a, I want to be able to see the city, but I want more of this. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm gonna turn off that. I'm gonna take this, Control C and Control V, and to paste it again. Put this underneath him. And the top layer, I'm gonna Effects, Blur, and Motion Blur. But we're not gonna do it that much, just a little bit. There we go. So when you blur something, it makes it so you can see through it, and the background is very dark, so it would just make the whole thing darker. So and that looks even more so that he's moving fast. I also, let me combine these two. I also want to shave this down a little bit. Okay, so now when I combine all these, first thing I'm going to do is, actually I'm going to make the clouds a little bit brighter. So to do that, I'm just going to grab a section of it, Control C, Control V, Control R, adjust brightness, and put the brightness just a little bit brighter. And now I'm going to Effects, Blur, Gaussian Blur. I do this because it doesn't look natural, just brightening it. You need some kind of blur to it. Okay, and then I'm going to delete some of it. blend it in with what was there already. Oops. So I'm going to flatten that. And now the next thing I do, I always make my images, I resample them to pixels, and I find the largest side, and I change that to 800 pixels. And then I go to the letters, and I put Mr. Purple, and I usually change it to white. And I usually change it to 18, and I usually change it to Showcard Gothic, and then I want it somewhere where it's out of the way, so I'll put it in those clouds I just made. So I do Control M, which puts a mask around the letters, but when I copy Mr. Purple, I don't want to copy the letters that are already there. I want to copy in the shape of the letters of the background. So I do Control C, Control V, and then to get rid of the mask. Now Mr. Purple in white is underneath, so I just do the arrows one to the right and one down, and then I go to, on the top layer, adjust brightness, and then I could either make it darker or lighter. And I want something subtle, so you can make it black, which is not subtle in this case. And so I think I'm going to go with lighter, it goes with the clouds, but I don't want it to stick out too much. So it's blending with the sky and the clouds. You grab them both, they're both highlighted here, Control down, and that's our image. So whether you're using Corel Photo Paint X8 or X9 or another program completely, you might get some ideas from what I'm doing here. And don't forget to subscribe or put comments below. If you have any questions, feel free. Thank you very much.